Hey everybody, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today's going to be a fast stream because Noisy is going to do his celebration stream at 1 o'clock, and it is now 12:02, so we've got not a lot of time. Oh wait, hang on. Let's see what we got here. There we go. We are doing mussels and pasta alfredo. There we go. And we're doing some little fingerling potatoes. So first things first, let's get this water going and I'll tell you what we're going to do today. Now, first we're going to do some little fingerling potatoes in a butter sauce. So we're going to need butter. For the mussels, we are going to do a wine cream sauce. Now, come on over here with me. We'll get these put in the sink real quick because they're frozen. And we want them to thaw a little bit before we open them up. Now, we got to get these potatoes going. And so we're going to want to brush them with butter and herbs and spices, but mostly butter. Also, making sure the sink holds water is a good idea. There we are. Towel. I had one. There we go. So how you guys doing today? I know we're in a rush, but that's no reason to be rushed. Let's tie our hair back using OBS as a mirror here, because we gotta look pretty for y'all. All right. So what we're gonna do for our butter rub for our potatoes is we're going to get a small ramekin. And I'll point you guys over to it. And we're going to unwrap our roll of butter from its wax paper. And grab a knife. Good morning, Shame. How you doing today, my man? Everything going all right for you? I hope so. Now we're going to want plenty of butter for these potatoes, but if you're melting butter in the microwave and you don't break it up a little bit, it has a tendency to spit and pop and all kinds of weird things. So we're just going to kind of bust it up a little bit. Now, mixing into the butter is anything else we want on these potatoes. And I think a good mix, and let me check on you guys too real quick. Yeah, y'all are hanging out. We're going to want a little bit of salt and pepper. Now, I bought pepper the other day. No, I didn't. I don't know where it is. I just can't keep pepper. Gonna do a little bit of sage on these things because sage is wonderful. And then let's see, what do we want? Yeah, here we go. A little bit of basil. Basil's good. There we go. Don't be afraid because we're gonna rub it all over the potatoes. A little bit of onion and garlic and we'll be good to go. So Shame, I was pretty sedate and quiet about greeting you. I have no idea how I managed to startle you this time. But I apologize for that. Unless I'm just a scary sort of person in general. That's a little garlic in there. Now, we've got our butter, and I'm not going to melt it just yet because I want to rub it on these things first. Now, I'm going to split these things, half them and quarter them depending on their size. And so, we'll just pop them out here one at a time. You can see they're just little small potatoes and they're really nice. And they are starting to grow some eyes. So we'll knock those off of there. Let's get this open a little more so we can get these out of here. There we go. All right. So we're just going to kind of, these are pre-washed, so they're clean. We just need to knock all the little eyes growing off of them. And that's not difficult to do. Greatest lose streak you have ever had in Splatoon? Well, that's no good, man. Although, you know what they say, there's nowhere to go but up. A butter knife is not the best tool for removing anything from anything, but I tell you, I need to go and get me some... Well, I say I need to go and get me some paring knives, but the fact is I've already ordered one that I really want, and it should be in. It's just not yet. That said, we'll just get these finished up real quick. I know I said this was going to be a quick cooking stream, but evidence is to the contrary. There we go. Of course, I could plant these little buggers and get a whole bunch of potatoes. Ever see someone use a 9-inch French chef's knife like a paring knife? No? Well, there's a reason for that. It's not a good idea. Let me check on you guys in a second here real quick when I finish this. But first I want to get all the little eyelets off these taters. Just so that they look appetizing and they don't look like, you know, your food's growing something. Of course, fresh food does grow, so I mean, it's not that bad, but there we go. Nice, clean, eyeless potatoes. It was all ranked. Now, by that, I guess it means it affects your public score, but tell me, Shame, on those ranked matches, can you go down in rank or no? I mean, it would strike me that it would be cumulative, but only in an upward sense if it was going to be fair, you know? Or does it average them? Like if you get like a really good score and a few medium scores and a really bad score, does it average out to medium, or does your good score kind of bring everything up to tip top? Well, how does that work? What exactly is their ranking system? Because if it's an average or a mean, that might spell trouble. But you know, if you just accumulate, then it might not be so bad. You know what? There's a nice little line of these things. Let's just go right down the middle of them. All right. We missed an eye on that one. These little fingerling potatoes are going to be wonderful. And so tasty, too. Cutting round objects is always fun. There we go. If you do it fast, they can't protest. There we are. Now, let's get these little bad boys in a bowl and slather them up with some melted butter. They're going to be wonderful. And we'll see how this water's boiling here. I know this counter's a mess, but we'll attend to that momentarily. So, we're going to get a bowl like this. And we're just going to funnel these little bad boys into it. That might not be quite enough of a bowl. But we take our butter, we stick it in our microwave. And we're just going to melt that on down. I see, so you can rank down. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, and you can also rank back up. That's part of the challenge. You lose it, and then you want it back even more, you know? I tell you, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to, you know, ranks and scores and things like that in games. The important thing to me is, am I having fun? And if you're having fun, then you're good. Now, we've got our bowl of potatoes, and we have our ramekin of butter and spices. And what we're going to do is, I was going to just kind of brush this over the potatoes, but I want it mixed up on them real good. So in lieu of that, we are going to pour it over there, which is good. And there's still some left in there, so maybe we'll get that out with a little bit of oil in a minute. But the important thing now is we get a lid, we stick it on the bowl, and we shake it real good to get that butter and herb coating all over those potatoes. I also noticed that the white balance on this thing is freaking out because of the window over there. Sorry about that. And hard to rank up. Well, I hate that for you, man. So now look at this, guys. We have got potatoes just delightfully covered in an even coating of butter and herbs. And that's how you do that. Now, here we go. I got two of them. I only need one. This one looks cleaner. Potatoes. And get all that good butter out. And here's where the brush will come in handy. You notice inside the bowl, there's all that herbs and spices and stuff that you just took the care and time to put in there. Well, get you your, over here, get your brush and just get all that out of there. And you can even hit it with a little bit of water. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And throw it in the bottom of your pan just to keep the potatoes moist. It'll cook off in about a half a second, but it'll leave all those herbs and spices down there. So we're going to go put this in the oven here real quick. And actually, we'll put this other pan back because we're not going to need it. There we go. These go in the oven. $385. This is about the time when we notice our pasta water starting to boil. So I've got some linguine and some bucatini. Bucatini are hollow straws, and they tend to do better with the tomato sauce. This is going to be a cream sauce, so we're going to go with the linguine. Now listen. What you're probably supposed to do, and what I would do if I was not in a hurry for all this to cook, is you're supposed to kind of lay this up on the side and let it get a little soft and push it down into the pot so that it's nice and long and pleasing. And but I'm in a hurry and I can't pay too much attention to it right now. So we are going to commit a travesty. Boom. Hey, you're going to bite it in half anyway. Someone in Italy just had a heart attack. Alright, so while this is cooking, we want to give a little dollop of oil into the water and stir it real good, just to kind of keep the pasta from sticking. Oil and water don't really mix, and I should have put it on first so that the pasta had to go through it, yada yada, but it'll do its job if you stir a little bit. And there we go, it's all stirred down in there and life is good. We're going to let that go for a minute, and we're going to start on our cream sauce. Now, it's nice and wet, but our mussels have thawed out. Now these are pre-cooked, so we don't need to cook them, and we just need to throw them in the pan long enough to get a little glaze going so that we can deglaze it with the wine and then start making our cream sauce. Before that though, I do want some tomato on this, if only a little bit. So we'll get one out and get it going and cut up so that I'm not trying to slice it up while we're doing all this other stuff. And I have these beautiful little Campari tomatoes, which are nice. I think about 3 of them, maybe 4 will do the trick. And then I have 5 left for another dish. All right, come on over here, y'all. Oh. Cut the little stems off, because no one likes eating tomato stems. Always cut your tomato skin side down, because it's easier. I might need to turn that pasta down. It's at a pretty high boil. Give me a second and I'll be right back. Well, let me get this one cut up first. Be right back, y'all. And we'll give this a little stir to kind of get that oil incorporated into the pasta and keep it from sticking, because that's exactly what it appears to want to do at the moment, is stick. Just give it just a bit of a stir here. Yeah, I definitely should have put the oil in first and then the pasta. But that's okay. Now the great news is we have this little dish of butter and herbs and things, and we can just set those tomatoes in there to get them out of our way, because that's the same butter and herbs and things we're going to be putting in the sauce. So, not worried about that in the slightest. Let's just go ahead and get this off of there. Those are going to be really, really good. And I am trying to hurry because, like I said, we're on a bit of a time crunch today. My buddy Noisy is going to be doing an all-day stream, and I want to, A, get you guys thrown over to him, and B, I kind of want to be there for it myself. So, well, I really want to be there for it myself, I should say, because Noisy is an awesome guy. All right. So we've got our tomatoes there. We're just going to leave those for a minute. And now, I'm going to go ahead and prep our sink by sticking our strainer in there for this pasta, so that I'm not looking for it in a minute when the time comes. We'll just check on this a second. There we go. That's starting to look more like pasta. But what I do need to do is to move it over onto this burner. That burner. I don't use that burner as much. There we go. So occasionally it takes a little goose to start it. There we go. All right, now we need to start our sauce. You know what? This is the pan for us. All right. First and foremost, we need some butter. nice butter cream wine sauce going here. Now, while that melts, we're just going to tear open these mussels. That's going to be good. Got a knife somewhere. If any of y'all know where my scissors went, I would like that very much. Okay, here we go. All right. Ooh, aren't those pretty? Let's see. Now, like I said, these are fully cooked, so we don't want to let them go too long, or they will get rubbery. But we do want to season them up real good. I think a little bay leaf powder, don't you? That'll be good. Now, a little onion powder. Plenty of onion powder. And again, I'm out of pepper. Let's see if you know what? I think I've got some white pepper somewhere, and it'll suffice. If I can find it in time. All right, white pepper. Oh. And celery salt. Yes, all right. White pepper and celery salt. This is going to be great. White pepper. Celery salt. Keep those aside for a minute. And let me see what you guys are up to. You posted your streak on Noisy's Discord. I'll take a look at it here. Well, when I finish in a second here. We need to turn this up a little bit. Because when this starts to dry out a little bit, see how the butter's starting to sizzle over on the edge? We're going to deglaze it with a little wine, and then we're going to add the cream. It's starting to smell wonderful. Excuse me. And the pepper. You can smell the pepper. Okay, this linguine is about ready, which is good. And these mussels are really starting to get good, so a little bit of white wine. Yeah. Just a little for flavor. There we go. A tiny touch of malt vinegar. That's perfect. And when that starts to cook down a little bit, we are going to add cream to it and make a cream sauce out of it. Then we're going to put it over the pasta. So our final and remaining ingredient is this. Yeah, you guys can see that starting to amalgamate and get kind of homogeneous in there. Oh, someone's in here. Jessica, hey, how's it going? It is excellent to see you. Thanks for coming by. I'm trying to get this cooked up real quick so that I can throw everyone over to Noisy's thing at 1 o'clock. But in the meantime, we're making fingerling potatoes. We're doing Alfredo pasta with mussels, and I might try and do some like bread in an oil and vinegar dip. But right now, we are about to stick some cream in this and turn it into a cream sauce. How are you guys doing today? Oh, and thank you. You've been here since I sneezed, haven't you? There we go. This is going to be the fun bit right here. We just pour this cream all through there. Now, normally I'd say add a little bit at a time, but if we were just making a true cream sauce, but since we have other liquids in there, it's going to be fine if you add a little more. You know, it's going to take longer for it to start to set up. But it'll be fine if you add fully half of this at first and kind of just keep stirring it. Now you want to keep an eye on it and keep it moving, because as it simmers, the milk fat will set up into those little curds that you guys know and love so well in an Alfredo sauce. And if you keep it moving, yum. It won't go south on you. It needs a little more of the bay leaf powder. About a half a teaspoon. Definitely needs more celery salt. And again, a little sage. Let's see. Aaron's fixing stuff with the computers, so you thought well, what's going on with the computers? Everything all right, or is it just maintenance and upgrades? If something's wrong and you guys are stuck, don't be afraid to shout at me about it. I do run an IT company, and I'm always willing to help you guys. Okay, it's a little high for the amount of cream we've got in there. You can see it's starting to curdle, but not in the way that Alfredo usually does. So we turn it down a little bit, and then we mind it a little more. And then to cool it off, we'll add a little bit more cream right in the middle to stop that from boiling as aggressively as it is. There we go. See, now that is starting to look and taste like a cream sauce. Normally you'd use the battery. Oh, I see. Well, oh, by the way, everyone, whoever's watching, Jessica Specs is part of a brother-sister team of game streamers called Battery Powered Specs. They are always doing something really entertaining and playing a lot of fun games. So be sure you go and check them out, because they're both entertaining, they're fun, they're really nice people. The channel is Battery Powered Specs. And be sure to go check them out, because they're great. This is what I'm looking for, Parmesan. So all we gotta do is rake off a few chunks of this into our cream sauce. But first, we gotta stir that cream sauce, or it's gonna set up and scald. And we don't want that. We need to turn that down just a little more. Oh man, that's going to be good. I tell you, those mussels, they're good. When you taste a cream sauce like that with that many mussels in it, it will taste very strong, and you will be a little bit disinclined to think that you're doing the right thing, because it will be so strong. But you have to remember, it's going to be very much diluted when it goes over the pasta, so you're fine by and large. I had bought a beautiful Pecorino Romano that I was going to put over this, but when I was in Louisville, where I bought it. I went off and left it at my mom's house, and so I'm going to have to go get it next weekend because it's still in her refrigerator. So we're making do with the regular Parmesan, but that's going to be wonderful anyway. There we go. Let me stick this back in its baggie. Aw, thank you. He thought the PSU went, so you ordered a new one, got everything apart, and now it seems like just dust. Yeah, I have seen that happen. I've got him back to my office and found out that there was a problem with something on the inside, but that's good, you know. At least you've got a new power supply unit, and if it does go bad, you'll have it on hand. Unless you're sending it back, which is also a good idea. Co-op for Stardew and the debacle of ordering the correct cables. Oh, I know how that goes. Matter of fact, speaking of visiting my mom, she's had these old home movies and things that she's been trying to convert, and she's got a VCR that does like VHS to DVD, but it hasn't been working for her, so I've got her a little cable that goes from RCA to USB, and the software that came with it didn't work real well, but I've been testing it out and using OBS to record with it, and it actually works pretty good. But yeah, converting cables sometimes is a chore. That's going to be really good. We just need for it to thicken up. And so healthy too, with an entire pint of half and half. But this is going to be my lunch for like the next 3 days or so. That is tasting good, guys. Alright, so this linguine is ready, more or less. So I'm going to turn it off and drain it in a minute, but first let's check on our potatoes. Oh yeah, those are looking good, but they're not ready yet. So, let's see what we can do about this pasta. Starting with the premise that we don't want to burn ourselves with it. Or anybody else, if we can help it. So Stardew Valley, huh? Tell me about that, Jess. I know that Dab and Blessed have been playing that lately, and it looks like a lot of fun. Is it kind of a one of those? What was that game I was playing a while back? It was kind of an adventure, but at the same, and there was a bad guy, but at the same time, it was a farming game. What game am I thinking of? It's like your sister is living in your head or something, you know? That was the plot of it, but it's a farming game. Maybe it's, I don't think it's one of the Harvest Moon games. I think it had another name, but if anyone knows what the heck I'm talking about, let me know in the chat, because it's bugging me now. Alright, so that's a little too high. We need to turn that down and let that thicken up. Now let's see if I have some arrowroot to thicken this up at the end here. If not, I'll use some flour. But arrowroot tends to gel just a little bit better. And we don't, so I'm going to use some flour. Let's see. Similar in vein to Harvest Moon. Yeah, I thought it might be similar in vein to Harvest Moon. There is, like I said, there's a game that I'm trying to think of the title of, and when I have to quit paying attention to this for a second, I'll just go ahead and take a quick look. And see if I can figure out what it is. But it's like one of those day management things where like you go, the adventure part of it is where you go and hunt things in dungeons and you come back with supplies and things like that, and you fight critters, and then when you come back, you're farming and delivering things to people, and there we go. Look how that's thickening up real nice. That looks wonderful, doesn't it? So we need a bowl to put this in. A very big bowl, because there's a whole lot of pasta and cream sauce. So now I'm also going to turn that down on low. Actually, I'm going to turn that off because it's ready. Now, your pasta don't come oiled or seasoned. So while it's still in the strainer, we're going to put a little bit of oil in with it. And we're going to gently toss it so that, it gets coated in the oil. And then we're going to put a little salt and gently toss it. Because again, the pasta doesn't come out of the water seasoned. So we put that in the bowl. Maybe, just maybe, we sprinkle a little basil in this. And I'll show it to you guys in a second here. I did turn that off, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing the potatoes. All right. So, we've got pasta with basil and goodness and other stuff on it. I'm going to tilt you guys around here so you can see this. And just a nice chill. Yeah, it seems like it. Everyone seems to be having a lot of fun with it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this sauce that I made, and we're just going to drizzle it right into our bowl here, scraping out the pot real good. And I'm left-handed, so it's kind of turned backwards for you guys. I'm sorry, because if I were right-handed, this would be turned toward you, and you'd be able to see all the delectable goodness running out of the pot. But what can I say? Kitchens are designed for right-handers, and I am not. So I apologize. Now, as I always say, go ahead and rinse out your pan and wash it out. Come on over here. While it's still hot. Because all this flour and cheese and dairy and seafood and stuff like that, that will caramelize and stick to the side of the pan like nobody's business if you give it half a second. But if you go ahead and wash it out now, you won't have any work to do. There we go. See? Clean as a whistle. All I've got to do is dry it out and hang it back up. Let's go do that real quick. And what do you know? So, we have got this. Look at all these beautiful little mussels on top. These little seafood wonderful nuggets. So, they're on top, but what you really want to do is fold them all in and through the pasta so that it amalgamates, because this is going to set up, and when it does, you can see all the steam coming off of it. That means moisture is going to come out of it. And when it does, it's going to get substantially drier than it is now. So you don't want like a big puck of Alfredo sitting on top of dry pasta. There we go. Look at that. So I'm going to cover that. And while we wait for the potatoes, let me show you guys how to make some delicious... Wait, we ain't done yet. Looky here. Tomatoes. Boom. That'll keep it moist. Just fold those little bad boys in too. And then I'll show you this. Yes. Now there's the flavor I wanted. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? There is what you want right there. All right, I'm going to set this aside real quick, and I'm going to show you guys how to make bread, as ridiculous as that sounds. Let me get all this stuff off into the sink here first real quick. Now, I have got some Vienna seeded bread. It's delicious, nutritious, tastes just like bread. And the bread's not the real trick here, because all I'm going to do is brush it up with a little olive oil and herbs, and we're going to stick it in the broiler for a second to toast it. Maybe a little butter on it too, because I like butter. The trick here is not the bread. What we're going to do is we're going to make a little dip for the bread with olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and some herbs and spices. Now that is the good part. So, first things first, you remember that pan that I put up a minute ago? Well, we are going to need it again. There we go, pan. It does, doesn't it? And thank you, it does look scrumptious. I am sitting here, my stomach is growling, wanting some of this food. I need a bread knife here real quick. All right, so for the bread, no big mystery. We take a knife. Take a knife, get us a piece of the bread. This is not the best bread knife in the world, but we will make do. This is Vienna style sesame seed bread, and it's wonderful. We take it, we split it lengthwise down the middle. I really picked the worst knife I own for this. There we go. Now, we're going to lay it open, and we are going to get some butter, which is wonderfully soft now because it's been sitting on the counter in this heat. So let's just kind of distribute it evenly here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because we're also going to drizzle a little olive oil and stuff on this, just so it toasts up real nice. So, olive oil. There we are. A little bit of salt. And a little bit of oregano. Now wait guys, here comes the best part. Before we toast this, we're going to get a little bit of this Parmesan that I had a minute ago. And we're just going to grate this directly onto the bread. And you could bake any kind of cheese on top of this to make it a cheesy bread. But I'm going to go real light on it this time, because right now we're trying to highlight the dipping sauce and not necessarily dress the bread up too much. All right, come with me if you want to cook. All right, so I've got to turn the broiler on for a minute. And the potatoes will probably just sit in there just fine. Those are starting to look really, really good. Now, I've told people this with broilers before. Always set the timer to 1 minute so that you don't get distracted, wander off, and have your, whatever you're broiling under the salamander burn. Let me plug this other computer in real quick because it's about to die. And that's the computer with which I communicate with you guys. Okay, now we are going to keep an eye on this broiler over here, and I'm going to see what you guys are up to at the same time. And when this bread comes out, then I'll show you how to make the dipping sauce, because I don't want to be showing you all that while this thing burns. So here we go. Yeah, bread's starting to melt real nice, but it's got 10 seconds left on the clock, so we're going to set it for another minute, and we are going to keep an eye on it. And while we do, I'll talk to you guys. Yes, cheese makes everything better, Jess. You're not kidding. Matter of fact, you know what you can do with this same kind of bread, and what I am going to do with it, brush it down with a little olive oil and whatever herbs and spices you want, you know, salt, pepper, onion, garlic, yada yada. Put just some tomatoes on it and some basil leaves, and then you coat the top with like a nice mozzarella, and you have kind of a caprese melt on top of the bread, and it turns into kind of this cheesy, pizza-y, caprese sort of melty bread, and then you take it and you dip it in your balsamic vinegar and your olive oil, and oh, it comes out really, really good. So that's and see what I mean about getting distracted? We're already finished. Let me put this back on 380 so that these things will cook correctly, and I'll show you what we've got. See? And the time it took me to describe that real quick, this is done. All right, now, getting a plate to dip this with is no big mystery. You get a plate with like higher sides, and since, actually let me get one that's probably more appropriate, although slightly more difficult to reach. There we go. This has higher sides on it, and will probably be your good bet here. So I do not currently have any pepper in my pepper grinder, so we are going to start off with just a tiny little bit of white pepper to get the flavor there. The thing about white pepper is it's a lot stronger than cracked peppercorns, so go real easy with it. We're going to throw down some oregano, which is always really good. We're going to throw down a little bit of basil, which is also really good. I like chervil, I like parsley. You can definitely use some rosemary on this. But I think we're just going to stick with these two for now. And a little, well, these three, and then a little salt. So then we have a nice little plate of herbs and spices. And what we're going to do from here is we're going to get some nice olive oil. And just kind of get that in there a little bit. And you can take a fork and you can make sure that you get those herbs well mixed through there so that they're good and even. And then you take a little balsamic vinegar and you just add it on the top. Oil and vinegar don't actually mix. Isn't that pretty? It looks like a little heart. Or it did before I moved it. But, show you. You can kind of see there in the middle. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. And what we're going to do now is when you serve it, you know, you serve these plates to where a couple of people can reach them at a time. And I'm going to come over here, and you guys can probably see on the stove cam. I'm going to get a piece of my bread here and a piece with the sesame seeds, because I like these sesame seeds. They're really good. Now, what you do is you or your guests, you take your bread, you dip it in, and there, see, it soaks up a bunch of the olive oil and a bunch of the balsamic vinegar, and then all you have to do from there yes. Oh man, that's good. All right. With that out of the way, we're almost done, and Noisy's probably going to be getting online in a couple of minutes. So what we will do is I am going to start cleaning up around here, and we're going to check on these potatoes. Now, yeah, that's cool enough to touch almost. Let's see what's going on with these fingerling potatoes that we're roasting up and see if they're about ready to be part of our meal. Yes, it would be great with some roasted garlic. You're absolutely right. And these little roasted fingerling potatoes are looking pretty good. Now, they look like they could stand a little more time in the oven so that they start browning up real nice. But yeah, look at the bottoms. They're starting to brown really good where they were face down. I think these are just almost perfectly ready. We just need to give them another minute or two to kind of get their wits about them. And they're going to be great. So in the meantime, let's clean up our kitchen, shall we? And if anyone has any questions about what I've cooked or wants to make any observations or ask what I used for anything, then why, feel free. And if you want to ask me any other questions, feel free. Yep. I am so dexterous. We'll get this thrown away real quick. For anyone wondering, I do like to clean up the kitchen as the mess happens, because if I let it go, it tends to stay let go, and I hate that. So I've gotten into the habit lately of just anytime there is any sort of little mess in the kitchen, I've tried to get right on it and clean it up, because it works a little better that way. I was also going to make a smoothie today, but unfortunately, I don't have a lot of room, and I'm going to be doing good to finish all this food as it is. That said, and it also doesn't seem like so much of a chore if you're cleaning up the kitchen while you're waiting for the last of your food to finish, because you're not just kind of sitting around staring. You're actually kind of feel like you're accomplishing something while you're stuck in the kitchen looking at things anyway. So that's important. Now, those are not yet done, but they're getting real close. So I think while we wait, we'll clean up this tomato mess. I want to move my balsamic and oil over here so that it doesn't get cleaning solution in it. Because I will tell you, there's a lot of flavors that taste good together that you wouldn't expect, but cleaning solution fits in with precisely none of them. There we are. Get these tomatoes out of the way, and then I'm going to come check on you guys for a second. Yeah. You're trying to do the same thing yourself, and it is the best way. It kind of makes the task not seem like such a task, because you're here anyway, and if you're going to just be standing around watching something to finish up, you might as well be doing something while you're stuck there, you know. The other thing is, I think that we will have timed this almost impeccably to coincide with the start of Noisy Stream if I played my cards right. That said, we're going to clean out our sink real quick. I tell you, I love an aluminum sink. That's one of the things that I absolutely was thrilled about with this house, is having an aluminum sink. because they're easy to clean, they're easy to maintain, they're handsome, they're inviting, they're great for utility, and I very much prefer them to their ceramic or porcelain counterparts. They're just inviting. They make you want to cook. They make you think of washing fresh fruits and vegetables. Let's rinse this out, and by the time I get finished with this, those potatoes will probably be ready to come out of the oven, and we will feast. By the way, Jess, I don't know if I have links turned on or off in my chat or not, but if you want to try to throw out a link for you and Aaron, and for Dab and Blessed, and for Noisy, while we're in here, if you get purged, I am sorry, but if you don't mind, I'd really like to give everybody a shout out. Speaking of Dab, hey, how's it going? Hey, Spectral, how's everyone doing? I am just finishing up my cooking stream here and cleaning the kitchen. We made, let me show you guys all this since you've come all this way to visit me. We made fettuccine alfredo pasta with mussels. Little beautiful, wonderful shellfish. Yummy. And then what we've got is some nice balsamic and olive oil dip. Put that under there so you can see it. For our delicious toasted bread that we did up in the broiler. And what you're supposed to do with this is to take it and you dip it in your sauce. It's wonderful. And we're waiting on the potatoes to get out of the oven. And after that, I'm going to throw you guys over to Noisy. How was your stream, Dab? I take it that, yeah, you've come in with viewers. How was your stream? What did you do? Or were you doing Stardew Valley today? Or something different? Also, everyone, please go check out The Bacon Maker. He is an excellent streamer, a fun guy. He's a friend of mine. And he and his wife both stream. And they're absolutely great. His wife, Blessed Bacon, also does vinyl cutouts, and they are awesome. I got the Chocobo stickers that go on my mic case from her. So go and check out her Etsy shop too if you get the chance. That said, my kitchen is almost clean. Let's check on, well, I'm going to check on you guys real quick, and then I'm going to get these potatoes out and show you. Bacon ended too early to appreciate yours. Aww. So how are you guys doing today? Is everyone having fun? Are you enjoying a relaxing Saturday? I hope so. Let's check on these potatoes now, shall we? Because you gotta have potatoes with a meal like this. And then I'm gonna plate this up for you guys, because I want you to see what it looks like as a total meal. Oh yeah, looky there. Now those are pretty potatoes. So, let's plate this up and see what it looks like all put together. Start with the plate. And I think the pasta first. Why not? Tongs. Offset tongs. Don't leave home without them. Alright, so get some pasta. Make sure we get plenty of mussels, plenty of sauce. Get some of those beautiful little red Campari tomatoes that are in there. And again, I'm sorry guys, I am left-handed, which means this is just exactly the wrong direction to be holding this for you guys to see it. But I'll just kind of do this artsy-fartsy, and then I'll get myself more later when I want it. Okay, we start with our pasta. Break us up some potatoes onto this thing. There we go. Oh, those are pretty. Look at those. Look how golden brown and gorgeous those are. All right. Piece of bread. Let me clean that up a bit because I've already been pulling pieces off of it. Turn our stove off. Now looky here, guys. Let me turn the light on so you can see it. We've got a beautiful plate filled with potatoes, pasta, and I should probably do the classy restaurant thing and clean up the edge of our plate so that it looks inviting. And that's about presentation. If you clean up the edge of your plate, it looks nice when you present it to someone. We've got our potatoes, we have our Alfredo pasta with mussels and campari tomatoes in a cream wine sauce, and we have got our bread, which you have a dipping sauce for. The bread has been broiled, toasted with herbs, olive oil, butter, and Parmesan cheese on top. And if you take it and you dip it into your herb, oil, and balsamic vinegar mix, it makes a wonderful coating. It sucks in there, and it's this herby, spicy, delicious, oily goodness. Yummy. Now, I'm sorry. I'm going to go answer some questions and see what you guys are saying. And I'm going to let you look at this beautiful plate while I do it. So, let me go check on you guys. Haha. Senna! Senna's here! How's it going, man? Bacon. I will make a bacon dish for you sometime soon. Senna, you are welcome to come by anytime, and I will cook for you. As to presentation, yes, eat with your eyes first and then taste it. Because if something looks appetizing, it makes the meal just so much more pleasant. Let's see what else here. Send it to you. Kimmy, I wish I could send some of it to you, but unfortunately, I could literally freeze it and send it to you on dry ice, but by the time it got there, it wouldn't taste a thing like it does right now. Let's see. Shadow Strider. Hey, Shadow, how's it going? And yes, all the carbs. Well, I mean, have you guys seen me? I move around like a ferret hybrid with a hummingbird, and I'm like 2 inches wide. I mean, I don't gain weight, and I try. Well, I mean, I don't try to gain weight. Like in the winter, I actually gain a little too much weight. But the problem is that's without muscle, and it's not the right kind of weight. But like, I used to fight in tournaments, and I would like eat and exercise, and I would get strong, but I wouldn't get any bigger. So, that said, let's see what's going on over here. You're doing good. I am glad to hear that. And thanks everyone for coming by today. Does anyone know if Noisy's streaming yet? Because I was going to throw the stream over to him once he started. Let me stand up here real quick because it's easier that way. I was going to throw the stream over to him once he started, and as long as he's going, I will throw this over to him, but I didn't want to throw everyone over to a blank channel, and since all of you guys are here, and it's so wonderful having you, I've just been enjoying your company. You believe, Senna. Thanks, Senna. I appreciate that. Well, if Noisy has started, then I'm going to throw you all over to him here in just a second. But first, let me say, everyone, thank you so much for coming by and spending time with me in my kitchen today. It is a gorgeous, well, it's raining outside, but it's still a gorgeous day. It's about 90 degrees in here, so I'm happy. Wonderful to see all of you. Blessed, Dab, Senna, Kimmy, Shame, everybody. Who have I missed? I've missed someone. Jessica. I know I've missed somebody, but that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate you, and it's so good seeing y'all. Yep, this bloody forelock of mine, that should be back in my ponytail. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, and I will see you guys in Discord. Well, first in Noisy's stream, and then Discord. Take care. Bye. I forgot Shadow Strider. Sorry about that.